Okay. And that was it for that tutorial. My husband will do all the editing for that. But I do have another project that I guys wanted to show you. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? I created this on the Cricut also. Do you guys want me to show you how I made it? Do ya? Even if you don't respond, I probably will make it because it's so gorgeous. Look at that. I mean, not only the gold, but the paper itself. And it's not picking up because of the gold. Oh, goodness. The paper. Let me show you the paper. All on its own. Look at that. This is nothing more than printed paper that I did on my actual computer. And to zhuzh it up a little, I used Studio G's glitter glue. And I've had this for like years. Literally years. At least 3 or 4 years now. And this is how much I've actually used. Not that much. But it does give a little bit of a bling. I'm not sure if it's picking up. Look at that. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and create this card using this this pattern paper right here. I can't tell you what it is. I'm going to have to look it up first. I would probably be in the description below on my YouTube channel once I figure it out what this pattern paper is. If I can find it. So what you're going to need is you're going to need pattern paper. You can use whatever pattern paper that you have. You're going to need some white, which I didn't pull out. I'm going to need some white for not only the card, but the sentiment. And you're going to need gold. Now, I have this glitter. This is my first attempt. It didn't come out really well. At least the center portion, it got pretty tore up. So I just cut the middle part off. And I'm going to have to, I had to redo it. So what this one is right here, it's called embossed foil paper. You get 40, you get 24 sheets, 6 by 6. And the one that I used was this right here, which I will use again. I was thinking about using this glitter, but it's so matted. It's so muted. This one is just like right in your face. Boom. You can see it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this off. Now, you also will need a stamp. This is the stamp that I use. I believe I got it on Amazon. It's called Journey. Once I find it, if I find it still on Amazon, I'll put it on the description below. Let me get, let's see. Yeah, it's a grateful thanks, and it has a little pointer on it, and it comes in a whole set. Yeah, I cut all of these apart. All of these were all together. It said believe, journey, joy. But what I think I'm going to use, I'm not going to use this thanks. I'm going to use, if I can get it out of here. Really? All right, fine. I'm going to use this thank you. And it has these little cute arrows, which I think I'm going to put inside the card. Just to give it a little bling. Just a little added something about it. And that's it. These are the only papers you're going to need. This white piece of paper, and of course your pattern paper. And of course the design that you yourself can create on Cricut Design Space. You're going to be able to create the circle, the little strands, and of course the feathers. This particular let me just get out of the, let's go to new. Do you want to save it? No, I do not want to save any of the progress that I have done. And let's go to project. This is going to be my feather project. These are all the feathers that I created back in 2019. Now, I was trying to do a 2020 version. Honestly, the 2019 version is still pretty good. I won't lie to you. It's still pretty good. And I'm going to show you how to create every single one of these feathers. Now, this is the standard feather that you start off with. And these are all been manipulated in one way or another. And I'm going to show you how all of these are made. Okay, first things first, we're going to start off with a square and a circle. These are going to be our primary shapes that we're going to be using over and over again. Oh my goodness, I can't seem to speak today. Maybe I need more tea, maybe some coffee. There we go. Let's make sure that this is centered properly. Horizontally? Yeah. Sorry, I have the hardest time with my horizontal and my vertical. And I should know up and down and side to side, but I'm a goob at this. I really am. Okay, I'm going to flip this, and it's going to create a nice little pill. Okay, and all I'm going to do is horizontally. Yeah, there we go. And then weld. All right, we got the first bases of our image here. So now let's do the inside. Let's just change the color to what we need. And now we're going to do our feather. All right, let's take this off the lock and elongate it. It doesn't really matter the bottom portion. You can always elongate it. These are a little stubby, as you can see right there, and this one's a little longer. You can do that after the fact. All right, so we got our stem, or the spine of the feather. Let's make sure that this is right in the middle. Yep, that was fine. Let's move it up just a smidge, like that. Grab another square, and then we're just going to have it about the same size. Yep. And all we're going to do is create a V. Now, if you find that this hits the top and it moves it down, just move your project down. Apparently there's like an invisible barrier, so it's always good just to move your project down just a little bit. All right, I'm going to flip this and make ourselves a little V. Now you can manipulate this until you're satisfied on how it looks. Let me take this off the lock and have it give me more of a V shape. All right, looks like a Y. Oh wait, I'm just gonna grab this and this, and I'm gonna weld. Okay, and the main reason why I did that, let's just make sure everything's in the middle. Okay, I'm gonna grab the V and then keep moving it down until I am satisfied on where it looks. You can add more or less. It's really up to you. I think that looks pretty good for me. Let me move this down just a smidge more. Make sure everything is in the center. Yep, there we go. I'm going to remove this little pill and then weld. Then move it right back in. And make sure that everything is centered properly. All right, is this where I want it? I think I want it like right there. I moved it just a smidge too low. All right. Before you cut, make sure you have a backup, because on occasions you can do something wrong. So let's slice this, and that should give me this right here. I don't need any of this. Okay, now that I've done it correctly, I can get rid of this right here. And I can elongate it on the bottom. giving me the length of the spine a little longer. All right. That looks pretty good. All right, I'm going to weld this. There we go. Let's just make sure that this is all centered. It's a little off. I have to move it down just a bit. There we go. That is the beginning of our first feather. Now you can do whatever you want to this feather, but this is the more basic. Say if you needed to do, I don't know, a hat for your kids' Thanksgiving, you know, they have Thanksgiving parades and you wanted a feather to put in a hat or in a bandana. This would be the easiest way to do it. So you only have like two cuts to do, multiples of. That's all well and good. But say if you wanted to make a card and you wanted to, for whatever reason, be like an inlay of it. So what you would do is duplicate it. And let's change the color of the pill. Okay. I'm going to duplicate this and set this to the side right over here. All I'm going to do is slice this. And now it has cut into, yeah. Say if you just, oh my, no. I see it didn't cut all the way through. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I can tell right away. You see how it didn't cut here or here? That's because I didn't properly put that together. So let me do that one more time. Okay, nope, it's still cut. All right. I want to make sure that this cuts all the way through. So let me go a little bit higher. Just like that. And now I can slice. It may not be a big deal, but once you start cutting this, you really want nice clean edges. All right. Say for whatever reason you just wanted the effect of the feather, and you have vellum, and you want this to be behind it and be like, I don't know, a small a faded out look. You would just do that. I mean, there's different ways for a crafter to use these projects. It'd be something like that. Let me make sure that this is centered properly. I know it's a small thing, but for me, it's like I can see that it's not perfect. All right, let me move back to 100%. Now you have your second feather. But say that, oh, you know, I really want my feather to have different colors, just like this one right here. So what you would do is you would get this project right here. Let's start it off with brown. And you're just like, well, okay, these don't ungroup. There's no way to ungroup. If you were on Silhouette, you would be, all you have to do is just click ungroup. But for the Cricut, you're gonna have to break everything down. So what you would do is just grab yourself a square and a triangle. And yes, this is going to take a little bit of finagling. It's going to take some time. This is not going to be an easy thing to do. You would have to go layer by layer in order to cut this off. Let me move this back. And you cannot touch any of the other sides, otherwise it'll cut into it. So let's get a little closer and see what we're doing here. All right, I'm gonna grab my what is it called, triangle? Yeah, triangle. And I'm just gonna try to make it fit, covering just that. So I'm just going to select this black image and this black image and weld. Ooh, oh, see how this is sticking up? You don't want that. And I'll tell you why. Well, you know what? I don't need another one. I just need this one right here, because that's going to eat into your other shape. So all you're going to have to do is slice this off. I wish there was a knife tool, but there is not, unfortunately. Okay. That separates that. And let me just make sure that this is as sharp as it can possibly be. Yes, it's going to take a bit of finagling, but it's worth it in the end, especially if you're trying to do this for a specific project. All right, a little more, a little closer. There we go. Highlight everything and then slice. There. You got the desired shape that you want. And that'll fit perfectly right there. You just have to do it a couple of times. Like that. Now, as much as you want to do this all in one go, you have to cut them individually. Like for instance, you grab the black and the brown and you slice. This one is no longer needed. You grab the black, grab the brown, and you slice. And you have to do that for every single part of the feather. I know it seems kind of tedious, but this is what you have to work with when you're working with Cricut. Okay, do it again. Grab this and the brown that's attached, and then you slice. And you keep going all the way around. Okay, let me get this out of the way, this black out of the way, this black out of the way, and this black out of the way. Now, if you did it right, you should see a difference. So right here, let me change the color. This one also, I have to be very careful that I click the right one. And then this one down here. Okay. And you just, am I going the right direction? Yes. And you just keep going all the way around until all of these are separated, just like this. Now, you just grab the secondary one right there, the second image right there, and then you just overlay it. Now you got different multicolored feathers for your project. Pretty easy, right? Yes, it's a little time consuming, but once it's said and done, you can keep cutting this over and over again. It's the first time it's a bit difficult, but once you got it all set, the cutting process is a lot easier. Now, let's move to this more, it's starting to look a little more like a feather, at least what we consider a feather. All right, I'm going to take this out. I'm going to duplicate this just in the off chance I make a mistake. Now, on my previous tutorial, I used a triangle to get these shapes, and you can also use a crescent to give it more of a circular. So I'm going to do both. I'm going to show you that you just take this off the lock, and you got to take your time with this. Don't go too fast, otherwise you're going to cut into your feather too much. You want only little snippets. And in my previous tutorial, I went too fast and I had gashes. I had a lot of cuts unnecessarily. So all I did was put some really close in, some a little closer inward, but not too close. And like that. And in order to make sure these all cut at the same time, I'm going to weld it, highlight everything, and then slice. Okay, that moves it to the side. And then you got a much more, it looks more like that right there. All you have to do is flip it. Maybe flip it vertically. There we go. That's not exactly what I wanted. I wanted to have it go this way. Oh well. Let's try that again. There we go. That's what I was really looking for. Now you don't want to go too far in, otherwise it won't look right. Trust me. And then slice. There we go. That looks pretty good compared to what I did before. Not this tutorial, but the previous tutorial. Oh my goodness. I cut in so much. All right. And you just put this where you think would look best, right there. Let's change the color to what it is right over here. That's going to be orange. Now, if you wanted to go, no, let me show you the second version. I guess I do have a 2020 version, and that's the circle one. And it's really all up to you on what you feel would look better. Okay, I got this one and I got this one. All right, let's cut into this. I'm going to just shape this to the way I want it. And I don't want to deal with a lot of loose ends here, so I'm just going to slice this. Okay, I'm going to flip this to really minimize how many I'm using. Pardon me. I need to drink a little more water. This only happens when I talk a lot, unfortunately. All right, I'm just gonna place it wherever I feel I want this to go. And I want this to be a little more further down like that. Okay, I'm gonna duplicate these. And I'm gonna place them where I want them to go. I think right there. I say skeptically in a high voice. And if you don't like the shape of it, change it. I mean, you have the capability of changing this. All right. All right. I think that looks pretty good. All right. I'm going to weld everything, and I'm going to duplicate it before I do anything else. All right, let's slice this. See, you get more of a swoosh rather than a jagged. It's all about preference on how you want your feather to look. All right, can I flip this? Yeah, there we go. That's what I was trying to do before, but it wasn't cooperating properly. Let's see. Let's move this in like that. And I'm going to just make it a little bit off-centered and slice like that. It really all depends on how you want this to look. It really does. Okay. So I guess this would be my 2020 version rather than my 2019. No real major difference. I mean, one is more angular, and one's more swoop. All right, now to give it more of a flare here, let's duplicate this. Actually, let's move this over here. And this is my 2020 version, so I'm going to put that over there. Copy, paste. And I know myself, I'm probably going to mess up on this one. So let me put something over here and move this to the side. All right. We still have another image right over here. All I did is just cut this in half. About right there. I'm not sure if that's half, but yeah, I'll say it is. And what I did is it just went from the points here, and I just went like this. I just added little flares, and that one's a little too big, just like that. You can add as many or as few as you want. It doesn't really matter. And I think I'm going to put one, let's flip this right there, and do some on the bottom. Let me just make this a little smaller. I mean, use that creativity that you guys have to make this look the way you want, just like that. Now, this also has little floopies down here, so what I'm going to do is just going to grab one, flip this, and it's going to be going down here. Let's flip this again. Kind of looks like a Fu Manchu mustache right there. All right. Before I do anything else, I'm going to see how this looks and whether or not I need to add more or less. I think that looks pretty good. Okay. And weld. Okay. So far, so good. Now, there's no real major difference from this to this. The only difference is I made it solid. Okay, I'm going to make sure everything fits the way it's supposed to. Just like that. I don't need this anymore because it came out fine, and I'm just going to change the color. A little darker. There we go. Now all I'm going to do for this one, go over here and then weld. That's it. I'm just weld it. And I did just one last thing. I grabbed myself a triangle. Let me move it down just a little bit. And to make it more feather-like, I just gave it a small little point at the bottom. Slice. Oh no, not weld. Not weld. Don't weld. Don't weld. That was my mistake, you guys. I meant to slice. Slice and weld are just like right next to each other. Okay. There we go. Those are all the feathers that you can do using nothing more than basic shapes. Now, that being said, let's see which one I like better. Do I like this one better or do I like this one better? I think I like this one a little better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of all of these. Delete. Get rid of this one. Delete. This one and this one. Now, you guys, we're going to be creating this little dream catcher using the feathers we just created. All right. How to make the dream catcher. And of course, I'm going to use basic shapes. A dream catcher is nothing more than just circles upon circles, depending on the design. And I'm just using a very basic design. Now, I really want a thick border because I don't want my Cricut to have problems. So I'm just going to center everything and slice. The thinner the project is, the harder it's going to be on your machine to cut it properly. So what I'm going to do is just going to use the same circle, take it off the lock, and elongate it. And then put it back on the lock. Ooh, see now how it's becoming thinner? You really want to watch that. Then let's make sure I make this as thick as possible. Okay, I'm going to do that this way. Because I really want to have a really thick rim. It's super important to me that that this is going to be thick enough for my machine to cut. All right, let's slice. Good. Now if I actually shrink it, it's not, see, it's not going to make it thinner, which I prefer, honestly. And all I'm going to do, okay, I want to make sure that this is centered properly. Horizontally, yes. So I always sound so suspicious. I'm like, is this the way it's supposed to go? All right. Now that I have my circle, all I'm going to do is copy the middle about maybe 3 times. And I'm going to put them all in the center. And then click the first one like that. Now, I'm going to have some issues with this. I think I already messed up. Yeah, I did. Oh, well. It's not supposed to go through it, but let me see how this works. I might actually be able to pull this off because the lines seem thick enough. Okay. It's a little more intricate than the one that I have. Mine is a lot more basic. Let's see if this works. I may have made a huge mistake. Now, I don't need to add a center point to this like I did before in my original project because everything interlaps perfectly. So let's just make sure I have this centered. Okay. Let me just, it doesn't really matter. Let's weld this. Okay. Right here we have our dream catcher. Now to attach this to this. What I did is just grab myself a crescent, or I should say a circle, and created it into a crescent. And I'm going to lop off. Let's lop this off right here. Okay, and this gives me way too many shapes. All right, I'm going to lop it here and lop it here. Let me weld these two together first, and then I can slice. All right. Don't want little horns. This is what I want. This is the shape that I'm looking for. And all I'm doing is going to duplicate it and flip it. There we go. Now, if you want to make sure that these are centered properly, is it vertically? Yes, it's vertically. And then just weld. Okay, so far so good. We got the way it's supposed to look. All right, take this off the lock and try to match the thickness of everything else. This is a little, there you go. Looks a lot better. And then weld. You know what? I'm going to move this down just a tad. Just a little bit. Highlight everything and weld. All right. This is where our leaf comes in. I mean, not leaf, our feather. Now you don't want to go too small because then you're going to have some problems cutting it with your machine. I'm going to flip this. Like that. You know what? I think I need to make these a little bigger, just a little bit bigger. I mean, my dream catcher is pretty big. All right, that looks good. Everything good. Now we weld. There we go. We got ourselves a dream catcher. Now, how to apply this to a project? Grab yourself a square. And you're going to have to work within this parameter. So it's going to go a little smaller. Okay, so I'm going to make myself a card. Turn it white. And I already know the dimensions that I'm going to use. 8.5 by 4.5. There we go. Grab ourselves the score line. And it doesn't matter where it pops up. You just have to highlight both of them and then put it into the center. Now it's crucial to attach these. You do not want to group them because it's not going to work on your machine. So you grab yourself a square, and this is going to be the liner. I want to say it's a liner or overlay. I know the inside of a card is a liner, and I guess the top of a card is an overlay. That's what I'm assuming. All right. So let's fit this inside our card here. I'm going to take this off the lock. The top is going to be 4. And the bottom is going to be 4 and 4.25. Okay. That's the whole thing of our card. Now we're going to duplicate this. Actually, you don't really need to because your card is already white. So you don't need that. It's just this portion right here. And this is going to represent my pattern paper, like that. Now, I need the size of my sentiment. So let's go back to, oh, wrong one. Let's see what the size of my sentiment is. It's about 1 inch. Yeah, it's about 1 inch by, how many inches is this? 2 inches. So that's the size of our greeting. Let's go back. So it's going to be about 1 inch by, oh, I need to take this off the lock, by 2 inches. All right, sure. Let me rotate this. There we go. And this is going to be the color white because that's what I'm going to be printing on, or I should stamping on. It's going to go right here. That being said, this big behemoth needs to fit into this space right here. So let's bring it to the front. All right. Okay. Now I see that's going to be overlapping my thank you right there, but that's fine. I mean, you can always go just a tad bit smaller. And it's okay if it overlaps just a little bit, like that. And since I'm going to be using gold, I'm going to use yellow. That's it. That's the whole project right there. These simple shapes. That's it. Your whole card is completely done. And you can send this off to a loved one. All you got to do is cut it, which we're going to do. All right. I have an 8.5 by 11, so this is fine. There's my dream catcher, and there's my printable. That's where my pattern paper is going to go. Everything looks fine. So let's hit continue. And it's asking me for my stylus. All right. Now we're here, you guys. Now we are here. Okay, that's so satisfying. All right, I'm going to put it long ways. This is my 8.5 by 11. And from what it tells me, it says that this is going to go all the way to my 10 mark. So I'm not worried. All right, I'm going to slip that right in. Oh, come on. Come on over, Big Bertha. And she is telling me, hey, don't use your knife. Don't use your knife, man. Don't use your knife. Use your stylus. That's what I'm doing. I'm styling that up, you guys. That's it. That's all she needed. It was just like, yeah, I'm just this one thing. I put back my knife and cut. Now she's going to do her little thing. That's her sentiment right there. Oh, you guys can't see it, and I can't scoot it up anymore. And there's our card. This is probably the simplest. Once you actually got the image done, everything else is nothing but, squares. The initial problem is just the image itself. Okay. Let me take this out. I think that takes the longest. And probably picking out your pattern papers is probably going to be the longest that it's going to take you to make this project. But once you have those two things, you can make cards over and over again once it's been saved. Oh no! Where's my little spatula? Oh, there's my spatula. There we go. Pop this out. Pop, pop, pop. I've been hanging around. Call me too much. All right, next is going to be my gold. Which way do I want it? I want it this way. Okay. All right. Fingers crossed that this cuts properly, that my lines are thick enough that it's going to cut. It's not the machine, it's my paper that I'm worried about. Because the machine cuts it to my specifications, but if it's just too thin, it's not going to work. And the last time I did it, I made the lines incredibly thin and my paper just tore up, leaving me with that weird looking circle with feathers. So far, so good. It's cutting properly because of my lines being thick enough. Oh yeah, that is looking sweet. So we got this one, which is more basic. All I did is grab the circle and went around my ovals. This one I actually put them all centered and then rotated them, and it actually worked. It worked. I'm surprised. I'm shocking myself. You're probably thinking, why is it shocking you? Because to tell you the truth, I've attempted this at least 3 times. And this is the first time that the lines were thick enough that it worked. And it's very important, another thing, it's very important to have a sticky mat. It's not going to work doing it with painter's tape because it needs to stick in order to cut properly. You don't want this moving around whatsoever. All right, you done? Oh, look how nice it looks. It did it. It did it. It worked the way it should. Here, let me just, oh yeah. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh yeah. Where's my spatula? Look at that. Oh yeah. Let me lift this up. Oh, look at that, you guys. Look at that. I'm going to use my little pokey tool here. Just poke, poke, poke. Wait. Needs a little bit more pokage. Oh yeah. Look at that. Oh, it came out, look, and it even gave me a little bit of an intricate design compared to this one. Oh, look at that. It's a little bigger, but that's fine. I'm not mad at it. Oh, that came out nice. I'm so happy. You have no idea how many tries it took me to get the lines right. So don't get frustrated. If you are not sure that the lines are gonna not cut properly, use scrap paper before you do it on something as nice as this. I'm telling you guys. All right. Last but not least, my pattern paper. Oh, this is gorgeous. And it has texture to it, which I love. And I created that texture using this right here. Oh, yeah. I mean, you guys can't see it properly, but oh, it's gorgeous. It really pops. Okay. Do the little cutty. Are we good? Are we great? Are we Gucci? Looks good. All right. Thank you, Bertha, for your services. I'm moving you to the side and popping this right out. And the good thing is it gives me these two right here to still work with. Oh, I'm so happy with this paper. Oh, I'm not sure if you guys can see the glitter. I hope you can. Oh my goodness. Maybe it's very subtle, but to me it's like it's very, very evident. All right. Sentiment, card, fold. Okay. Bone folder. Okay. Which side do I like better? I think I like this one better. And I don't need an insert because it's already white, which actually minimize cutting for you. Now let's see. Do I want it like that? Do I want it like this? I think I want it like this. All right. It's very, very important not to use glue on this one, because it will warp your card. And I'm not even joking. I made beautiful, beautiful cuts on cards. I colored on them. I put shading. And then I'm like, oh, here, let me do some glue on this. And guess what it did? It warped my card. My beautiful hard work. By the time everything was said and done and dried, there was just like bumps and lumps everywhere. So you gotta realize when to use glue and when not to. And for this project, I would highly recommend doing double-sided tape. Now, if this was going to be like a 3D project, then glue is the way to go. Okay, I said this right here. Now I want to make sure it's in the center. Oh yeah, that's looking really nice. All right. Now I didn't shade this, but I didn't want to really mess with the look of it, but this right here kind of blends in with everything, so I'm going to have to shade it just a little bit. And I used blue last time, and it didn't go well with the background, so I'm going to go with I'm going to try to go with this lighter blue. Does that look like it? No, it looks more like a lighter green. It's more of a blue green color. You know what? I'm second guessing myself here. Maybe I can do both. Who knows? Maybe adding a little green might actually help this out. Okay. Let's use this nice light green. I think the green works better. Yeah, I think the green definitely works better. And with that being said, let me get my, here we go. And here we go. We're just going to put this right on my lines. Okay, I'm going to grab my green. Make sure you don't cover yourself in ink. Okay. All right. Let's just make sure. Am I in the center? Yes, I am. I use this right here. Okay. It cut off my Y a little bit. Oh, that is really light. I thought it would be a lot darker. You know what? It's fine. I'm not going to overthink it. I would go over it, but to tell you the truth, I don't have a, oh, what is that called? There's this nifty gadget my friend Carol Mezzetti has. She's like a phenomenal crafter. She's a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And if she would get onto YouTube, I can guarantee this woman would have 1 million followers. She is so charismatic. So my friend Carol, she has this device that you put a stamp on one side and it folds over And if you don't get it inked out the the first time, you can just do it again and again, and it gets it's held by magnets. I wish I knew the name of it, but I'm drawing a blank. It's a Stampin' Up product, or maybe it was a Tim Holtz one. I'm not sure. I know you can't get it anymore, and she got it just as they stopped manufacturing it. But I know she said that Stampin' Up does have one in it. Oh, Stamparatus. Thank you. Stampin' Up Stamparatus. Yeah, I gotta tell you, that thing is amazing. It's still made, yes, the Stamparatus is, but I think the one that she had was a Tim Holtz one. No, maybe it is a Stamparatus that she is, and I'm just thinking about it wrong. I'm sure I'm thinking about it wrong. All right, I'm just putting a little bit of pop dots on my project. I'm not going all the way around because my thing is a little too thick. What do you mean, what you sent me? What did you send me? Nope, it's what you sent me. What did you send me? Devlin, did you buy it? Did you buy me a Stamparatus? You bought me a Stamparatus? When is that, for Christmas, and you just spilled the beans? Is that where you're trying? Okay, you're sending me signals to me. I have not. No, I have not. Okay, there we go. I made this a little bit smaller, but I think I like the big one better. I like the thickness of it. But whichever you choose, it's really up to you. I prefer the thicker one because that way I know it's not going to rip my paper. And look, I got more detail. More so than this. I understand. Thank you for that, Devlin. I want to thank you for the clarification on that one. But that is the end of our project. So whether you make it nice and thick or shrink it down to make it a little smaller, either way, it looks phenomenal. Although I really wish I had made this a little darker, because now it's blending in with everything else. You don't even see the sentiment. Not really. Oh no. Oh well. It's fine. It's fine. What's crafting without having a few mistakes, right? And nobody would really notice it. Once they actually receive it in their hand, they could see it a lot better. But on camera, it doesn't really pick up that well. Thank you so much, everybody, for stopping on by. Thank you for seeing today's project. I hope that it shows that you can actually create amazing things on your Cricut using nothing more than basic shapes. With a little time, a little effort, you too can create phenomenal things. And once it's the image is actually created, everything else just falls into place. Thank you so much, everybody, for stopping on by. I really do appreciate it. If you have any questions, feel free to whisper me on Twitch. But if you are on YouTube, put a comment below. And if you like what you saw, hit that like button. And if you want to see more of this, hit that subscribe button. Not for the Twitch people, but for you guys in YouTube. And I post something new every Tuesday and Wednesday over on YouTube. Thank you so much, everyone, and you have a beautiful day. Bye now.